Hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Role Playing Guys. This is Spencer hopping in here to do another quick intro. This is part one of our 4-part series in the game AfterLife, which is an indie game that we are testing out for a few people who sent it to us to get some of our feedback. As you know, we usually do these mini-series in between our seasons, and this is the mini-series in between Seasons 4 and Season 5. With us in this series is Ty, Rebecca, Nick, and Daniel. So it's a lot of fun. I'm also in it. I am GMing in it, so that's pretty cool. I thought I wouldn't have time, but I was able to make time to do this, and I think it turned out really well. Not to toot my own horn, if you will. Season 5 is coming up, and that's going to be awesome. We have Ty running the Wrath and Glory system for us. Ty will GM with Nick, Danny, and me as the players. Thank you so much to our patrons on Patreon, Brad, Jules, and Steven. You guys are the flower to our cookies. Without us, there would be no sweet treat of a show. Thank you so much to those who participated in the 2-year anniversary giveaway. Congratulations to Gwithiachers and to Garrett and to Rue for winning our prizes, which were Sketch Goblin drawings and copies of Corporea, Suited, and Numenera, as well as a dice bag with a few miniatures, so congrats to them. If you guys are interested in more of these giveaways, please spread the word about us. The more popular we are, the more we will do these giveaways, and you have more of a potential to win these awesome prizes. So please tell others about our show, rate, comment, and subscribe. Do all the awesome stuff that you guys are already doing, and we promise that we'll have more giveaways in the future. As we are preparing for Season 5, we also look forward to Season 6, which means we are looking for a game to test. If you guys have any suggestions of games that you want tested, please send them our way. You can do that either via DM in all of our social media accounts, or you could email us at rolepg13@gmail.com, or you could find us on Discord and message us there. Basically, any way that you could contact a human being, you can contact us and just suggest the games that you want to hear us test. If you are an indie game developer looking for people to test your games, please send us your game, and we are happy to do that as well. We have a few games that are already in the backlog that we're going to be testing in the future in between seasons, but if we continue to get more of these indie games and more of these prototype games, we will do more recordings of those and give you guys feedback as we can. We're also coming up with our own custom rating system to give a more uniform method of our rating criteria and how we decide how good a game is. That way you guys will be able to see it and test out the games that you like that we have actually played and given feedback on. I think that's about it. I can't really think about anything else, so let's get to the episode.
Huzzah! There's Danny.
There it is. Welcome everyone to some bonus episodes, mini-series of the Role Playing Guys podcast. We are playing the game AfterLife, which was sent to us by some developers back in Utah. And this is not to be confused with Nick's Utah megalopolis that he created for Corporea. These are actually real people that really developed the game. So
I don't really know if they're from Utah. We just met them on Instagram. I have no idea who they are, but they're I think they're the Arcanaut, or I could look it up on Instagram. I don't think they have an Instagram account specifically made for the system yet, so they're still making it. They're not really promoting it yet, so we're going to test it out. That's what we're doing, basically. Sorry.
But they're from Utah.
Are they? Well, okay. Yeah, if you want to say that, go ahead.
I think I have the right to say where they're from.
If we're testing this game, you have the right.
And if they're not from Utah, they're actually now legally required to move to Utah, change their birth certificates to reflect that.
Because when you move, you have to change your birth certificate to reflect the location of residence.
They have to be from Utah. We're going all the way back.
When God formed the earth, he created Utah and the developers of AfterLife from the soil thereof.
Oh,
And it was good.
And it was good. We have Rebecca with us.
Hey.
I don't know who she's playing. I don't know if you want to introduce the name.
Is this when we're doing introductions?
Character intros now?
Character intros?
At least the name, perhaps.
Okay, I'm playing Scarlet, a warg.
Nice. We have Nick with us, who is playing...
Hello. I am playing a human named Reginald Pahoran Thesaurus Layton.
And we have Ty Boy with us, playing the character of...
Thai boy. No, it's kidding. The Ragnar, the Neo-Ape Gorilla.
Of course.
Oh my goodness.
That is quite the 180 from what you were originally.
I know,
But that's also quite the Tyler kind of character.
Yeah.
No chimpanzee for Tyler. Gorilla.
And if you think that you're hearing things or you're going crazy, that is actually Daniel from season 1 and 2 who is back with us. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us.
I'm back. Hello, everybody.
And there go the audio levels.
No, it's actually perfect.
Oh, fantastic. I hope you are all ready for ridiculous voices that will change frequently over the course of the episode.
As I forget what my voice was before.
As I totally forget. Right. Yes, that happens every time I play a game. This week, for AfterLife, I am going to be playing Bernie Arcane, the Frogman.
Bernie the fuck.
Bernie Arcane.
Feel the burn of Bernie.
Am I wearing a red bandana like Ryu from Street Fighter? Yes.
I was thinking
You say Ryu, I say Ryu.
Yeah, you say Ryu.
I say Ryu.
I say Ryu. Maybe I am wrong. It is possible, but Hadoken.
Show Ryu Ken. That's what I go by.
That's true.
Ryu and Ken. I mean, yeah.
So, as we've already said, we're playing the game AfterLife, which was sent to us by some developers. This is something that we do in between our longer 10-episode seasons, where we test out prototype games that are still very much in their infancy in order to give indie game developers specific feedback, as well as promote something that they're potentially going to be advertising and creating in the future and selling for that dirty, dirty cash money. Why don't
Join
we
our
do
Patreon.
character introductions a little bit more in depth right now to understand who exactly is playing?
I'll start. In the game of AfterLife, the first step that they ask you to take is to fill in the blanks of a sentence. I always like games that do this. Hi, I am Reginald Pahoran Thesaurus Layton. I am a scholar/orator who comes from the Nauvoo Kingdom, and I do orations and exploration because it is my mission from the kingdom. So, like I said, Reginald is a human, and I decided he would be more of a scholar or orator. That's not really a class, that's just more of a kind of a role-playing origin or pathway he's taking. He has a lot of skills in mind and charisma, definitely. He's good at mind magic, especially. In AfterLife, magic is based on the radiation that came from the apocalyptic celestial radiation that came in 1998. Besides his mind magic, he is also equipped with a +7 shield, which he calls Faith. He has a +5 ability called Brain Encryption, which he calls his Salvation ability. And then he has for armor, I have a +2 Pocket Book of Scripture, which he calls his Book of Righteousness. Shield of Faith, Helmet of Salvation, Breastplate of Righteousness.
For those familiar with Ephesians, the holy book of the Bible.
Yeah, that's...
But it sounds like he's missing out on some of those pieces
references,
of the whole
references
armor.
to the armor of God in the Bible.
Where are your feet? What are your feet shod with, Reginald?
the radiated dirt of the desert of the Nauvoo Kingdom.
Thou have the sword of the spirit.
He actually does not. I'm going to play him as someone who's gone... He's a little too eager, And so I purposefully, and also because I don't have enough points for this, I purposefully did not give him a sword of the spirit. So he's going to be a bit different from the typical Nauvoo missionary or explorer.
So he's going to pick up a sword of
go.
the spirit after I kill the guy.
Yeah.
I named one of his nickname. He's often called Thesaurus because he's a bit too wordy. He focuses too much on his oration, as opposed to like the actual meaning of his words. So, anyway, that is the concept I have. We'll see where it takes us.
Beautiful.
So I'm playing Scarlet, who's a warg. Military experimentation wolf hybrid.
Ooh, nice.
Correct? Yes, the irony is intentional. So I grew up in the wilds of the Northlands of Canada. And
Probably
fight
in the
because...
First Nations area. Unless you're in the Neo-Viking Raider
whatever
clans.
Canada used to be.
Well, so most of Canada is there's a cool map, by the way, a cool setting for
well,
this
you
game.
didn't show me that, so
I'm
I didn't
sorry,
get
I
to
didn't.
see where I was from.
First Nations, or if you want to be around the Great Lakes, there's Neo-Viking Raider clans.
Yeah.
Or the Ape Tribes and Doomsday Clans, I suppose.
I guess First Nations probably.
Cool.
Anyway, so, and she fights because that's what she knows.
Ooh,
And that's what she's good at.
Look at that.
look at
Awesome.
that.
Sounds good. Why don't we... Did you come up with a sentence thing for her as well?
Yeah, hi, I am named...
I am Scarlet, no last name. I am a mercenary who comes from the First Nations. And I fight because that's what I know, and for the money.
Nice.
Very nice.
Looks like Ty is still writing, so why don't we go to Danny?
Sounds good. All right, so I am Bernie Arcane. I am a frogman from the, what's it called, this swamp, the name is big, the Polistovo-Lovitskaya swamp system in Siberia.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. Oh,
That's
yes.
interesting. A cold-blooded creature from Siberia.
A cold-blooded creature from Siberia that has made
He's
his...
owning it.
Hey, you
I
don't
like
know
it.
how it is in the new land
It's
after all
true.
this nuclear fallout and everything?
I do know.
Well, it's not
I
nuclear
do
fallout.
know.
It's a celestial radiation.
The swamp has actually turned into a thriving jungle. Now, let's see, what else? I'm wearing some sweet lizard hide. I have minor camouflaging skin. I'm constantly putting out low levels of radiation.
And mucus.
Yeah. And mucus.
And
It's
delicious mucus.
It's pretty gross. But my main objective, sort of my purpose, is in exploring this Viking region that we're going to be in today, is to continue finalizing my collection of the Swamp Thing. I have Volume 1, but I believe Volume 2 is out here in the Great White North.
I imagine that every step you're going to have to do the noise just...
That could be fun.
Gosh,
huh?
our listeners are going to love
yeah,
that.
they're definitely going to love that, and I'm going to love editing that.
No, they can
Would you mind doing your sentence?
I will do my best at making this sentence here. I am Bernie Arcane. I am a radioactive toad man who comes from the Lovitskaya Polistova, whatever it was, swamp that I said the name is big. Polistova Lovitskaya swamp system. And I do radioactive magic because I like comic books.
This works.
It does work.
And because of that.
Welcome to One Shots.
Welcome to One Shots. Ty, are you ready?
I have pretty much everything set up. So, my character is Ragnar, the Neo-Ape Gorilla. My phrase is, I am Ragnar. I am a berserker who comes from the gorilla tribes, but proved worthy of the people of the north.
Wow.
I am a raider because Croden demands it.
Extensive vocabulary for you. I was expecting, I, gorilla man. something along those lines.
I'm Gorilla. And now that my new voice for whole podcast. Whole podcast be Gorilla.
Koba. Me. Koba.
Okay, I didn't know I had to write my sentence in my character's voice. I just assumed I could do that.
You did, so.
I just assumed that I could do this. But
Alright, so why don't we give a little brief history of the game of AfterLife and kind of the setting that's going on. As Nick implied or stated earlier, this is set in an alternative modern history, or alternative modern and futuristic history. At the very beginning in the 1980s and 90s, it was during the Cold War between the United States and the USSR, and everybody thought that there would be a nuclear war that would end everything, not nuclear. Yeah, that's how George W.H. Bush said it, right? H.W. Bush.
nuclear.
So there was a huge cataclysm, as they say, in 1998, when the world was struck by incredible amount of celestial radiation that caused major blackouts and plunged the world into darkness. The Cold War just kind of exploded everywhere, and there were a lot of extreme testings going on, and it just kind of boiled over. Then there was this golden age where as civilization started collapse, there were some that really started to recover and form. And because they didn't have legal or ethical concerns, thank you moral compasses that were erased, they were able to advance hugely in science and technology, and magic emerged in the world because of the solar radiation, because as we all know, that's usually how magic works. Excess vitamin D. So there you go. After that, there was the terror of Castratican. Yeah, we'll go with that. The castrated beasts that were mutants that were created during the technological golden age, and they sort of became the heroes and fighting against a lot of those First Nations. And now we're back in the Dark Ages, which is approximately 2150 to the present time. This takes place in North America, or the United States and Canada in general. And it looks like the world has been divided into these pretty big nation-state areas. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Feudal states, clans.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baronies in the Midwest. There's the Nauvoo Kingdom in present-day Utah. Tribes and clans kind of in the outskirts everywhere. There's a really cool map, a really cool color-coded map of the U.S. and where the boundaries of all these places.
So we'll probably post that when we post the episode, just so people can get a little bit of an understanding. And no, this actually won't be one episode. This is going to be broken into quite a few because none of us can stay on track enough to do this all in 1 hour and 30 minutes. So.
Yeah, true. Potentially.
That's accurate.
For yourself, guys.
Let's just be really focused this one and just totally blow Spencer's mind, huh?
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Where's the fun in that?
So,
I may have a strong shield called faith, but I have no faith in that statement.
Oh, jeez.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel on that one.
yeah, that was a reach.
That was...
Just so you guys know, the way that we're starting this is going to kind of be in media res. What you guys, I'll read the little narrative that I've come up with, but you guys don't know each other to begin with. You've all received this quote unquote mission because there's a bounty out. It's not because you've been personally enlisted by the Genhoot clan. So just so that's clear.
Right.
And the bounty that is on the head is just stated as fulfillment of your wildest dreams, which is obviously why all of you would assume that it would be exactly what you're thinking it is, whatever that is. All right, let's dive into AfterLife. Since the great solar events that destroyed most of the world, the North has become barbaric. Scattered clans of Viking-esque towns dot the land, but now are dominated and feared by most from the Genhoot clan. This matriarch-controlled group terrorizes all other settlements in the north, but is not afraid to step beyond their boundaries and raid other settlements. Recently, a prisoner has escaped from their custody. In an incredible feat of planning and dumb luck, he made it out of the Genhoot territory and is running. Rumor of the criminal has spread throughout most of the Viking territory and as far south as the Highway Barbarians. The rumor of the reward has also spread through the land. The question is, who will return this man? It is getting late. The sun has already set on this miserable land to the north, and you are all hidden around this small clearing with a campfire. 2 men and a woman are sitting around the fire. You immediately recognize one of them as the criminal you are pursuing. You do not recognize the other 2 companions. The criminal, Belante, is nodding off, and the other 2s do not look tired. Finally, when Belante is asleep, you hear them speak.
What a bit of luck, eh, Gwendol? Yes, Gobble, good luck indeed.
They begin to move closer to Belante. Gobble starts to remove the boots of Belante, and Gwendol is taking off his coat.
Tender flesh so sweet and pure. Yummy Vikings good for sure. Skinny bones to pick our teeth. Finally something good to eat.
What do you do?
Ooh.
Is the bounty for him alive or dead?
True.
Alive.
Also, are we
alive.
pretty well known? Do we know each other pretty well? Like we've done missions before, or are we just
Absolutely
like
not. You do not know each other. Randomly, you have been able to track or find this campsite that they have established, and you're all surrounding this roughly 20-foot in diameter clearing. And there's a campfire in the middle. There's a log that's been pulled over for them to sit on, and a stack of firewood is ready to use on the side. Despite how late it is in the year, what we would refer to as December, the first snow has still not fallen.
Okay.
Are we aware of each other?
No. You do not know that anybody else is here. You assume that this is just your kill. Kill. But you assume that this is your capture.
So here's what I, as Reginald, would like to do. I'd like to do mind magic on the more eager of the 2, and try to basically convince them or charm them to think that there is larger prey just outside the camp.
there is?
All right. So this is our first check that we're doing, and the way that the checks work in this game is kind of interesting. What you do is you take the ability score of one person and you subtract the ability score of the other person, and then the difference between those numbers indicates how high you have to roll on the d20 in order to convince them of this action. And that goes for combat as well as non-combat. And
it's always attacker minus defender. So that's how you can get negative numbers.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you have for... You're saying that you're using mind on this?
I'm using mind magic. So that would be... So I believe mind magic is a skill that adds... And like all other skills, it would add a +2 to whatever attribute I'm using it with. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
My mind attribute score is 10. With mind magic, that would be a +2, 12.
All right. With a 12 against their score, why don't you roll, and I will let you know if you pass.
I got a 10. So I know Spencer is taking 12 minus whatever their mind score is, or whatever, and then from there determining how difficult the check is.
You have a 12, they have a 5, so that results in a 7.
7.
Which means...
easy.
That's, easy.
Yeah, if you roll a 3, you're able to pass it.
Well, I rolled a 10.
For a second, I thought you were about to say 2, and I was going to laugh so hard.
I was going to laugh too.
I wouldn't be surprised. So what are you saying to this creature specifically?
So
and who are you targeting, Gwendol or Gobble?
So like I said, which one is more eager to eat? Is there a difference in that?
They are both salivating, and you can tell they're both humanoid creatures.
They both hungry.
Is what they look like.
I'm going to do Gwendol.
All
and
right.
I'm going to, basically, It's not so much speaking as it is planting the suggestion in their mind that they either hear or smell something of a larger wounded prey just outside the camp in the opposite direction.
Okay, so as you waft this lovely smell in the direction
their
of
brain
Gwendol,
their brain registers this, basically.
What is that? Gobble. Gobble, stop it. What is that?
and you see that they are... Gwendol slaps Gobble to get him to stop taking off the boots, and she starts walking your direction.
I thought I was going to have
Nice.
it... Okay. I thought I was going to have it in the opposite direction.
Oh, the opposite direction? Alright. Let's do this instead. The classic D4, who does it go to?
Fair enough.
Ragnar. Send to
Walking
Ragnar. Send to
towards
Ragnar.
the Gorilla Man.
Yes!
The odor of the Gorilla Man has wafted into their nostril of Gwendol, and you see Gwendol starting to approach. You see her sort of crouched down, trying to kind of sneak up on it, and she's starting to smile in anticipation. You see that she has 4 sets of razor-sharp teeth
Oh my
and
gosh.
long claws. You see that there is a meat hook on her waist as she's getting ready to jump into the bushes where you would be.
So Ragnar, in his mind, says,
Crowden, give me strength! Ah!
he's gonna charge out of the bush with his giant chainsaw sword. and he's
Reginald's
gonna
like,
take a
oh my
swing."
gosh, did I actually have a vision of some other creature actually in there?
So you...
Oh, right.
why don't you roll intimidation on that? And I assume that you wouldn't be using charisma on that. You'd be rolling with strength. That's something that you can do. You can interchange.
cool.
If it is intimidation based on your strength, you can use strength as opposed to just charisma.
Oh yeah, I'm
Basically,
definitely
like,
not using my
changing
words
changing
because I
the
have no
attribute
charisma.
that you use.
So what is
Very narrative.
What number do you have there?
So I have a 10 strength, so that's the base I got.
Okay.
If you have the intimidation skill, that would add +2.
I do not.
All
okay.
right. So you have to roll.
Okay, so is it just a flat roll? I don't add
Just a
anything
flat
to it?
roll.
It is a flat
flat.
D20.
Oh, I got a 5, so...
You get... you had to roll a 5. So you
Nice.
get it, and
Nice.
like Gwendol for half a second, she gets like really confused, and then she realizes that there is a massive gorilla man coming at her, and she's never seen anything like that. So she just like falls back and is like, with her double jointed arms, has flipped them around and now is like crawling backwards more towards the campfire. Is anybody
That's
else
creepy.
reacting to this, or are you still
I'm
biding your time?
shooting Gobble.
All right.
And Bernie's also going to do something, but that'll happen after the shot goes off.
Okay, why don't you roll what is your thing for stuff for your attack? That was definitely a sentence.
I didn't understand
It
that
was.
sentence
Crowden,
at all.
go feast on your
So with your firearm, you said that you're shooting, right?
Yeah.
What is your firearm attack?
Is that the number that they gave?
I believe so, unless you also have a skill
Firearms
with
is
firearms.
a dexterity skill.
Yeah, so add your dexterity.
But the firearm has a flat up
Exactly, yeah.
It
attack
has flat
number.
up damage.
I
Oh,
think that also goes
damage.
for the attack.
I don't know anything. I'm just here.
Um,
I'm just...
I'm
a
just
shotgun
here.
firearm might have more damage and less range. That's not entirely clear. There is a attack number for it, of course.
So which skills firearms under?
It's
That
under
should be
dexterity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dex-based.
Mm-hmm. So let's go with dex. I like that more, and then using the attack as the actual damage. That makes more sense to me. Thoughts?
Yes. Yes.
Works for me.
I believe that's the intended.
Reading.
Well, I think the
thing.
attack is the damage of the weapon,
So
isn't it?
So the attack is the damage of the weapon.
And the other is the range.
Then there's the range, which is like in meters.
Yeah,
You definitely are within range.
So yeah.
that's what I thought.
So what is your dexterity?
My dexterity is 8, plus I have the firearm skill, so it's +2.
All right, you're going to have to roll pretty well on this. I'm not going to lie.
Great.
Baboom.
I did not roll well at all.
She got a
One.
1.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
So in this game, as opposed to perhaps a more traditional Dungeons & Dragons style, there aren't things as critical fails, and I didn't even see anything that indicates that there is weapon jam or anything like that either, depending on how low you roll. So what we're going to say happens is you're going to be shooting, and you're actually, with that shot, you're going to hit Belante in... you're going to hit him in the shin instead of hitting Gobble, who's getting ready to, chow down. So you have now hit Belante, and roll a d10
What kind
as
of
we do
bounty
damage.
hunter are you? You would...
Wasn't there a flat number though?
So here's the thing about how damage works. There's a chart
Okay.
in which basically you take the value of the attack value. You take the attack value, and then you roll a d10 to see which of 10 different outcomes would happen.
Mhm.
5.
So with that, because you rolled a 1, you just you slice across his shin, so it doesn't cut anything. It doesn't break bone or anything, but you have woken him up. Or not woken him up, but he has felt that, and you see his face grimace with pain. Danny, you said that you wanted to get in on this?
Yes, so I'm not going to be attacking either of them. This entire time, what Bernie's been doing, he has a cybernetic implant, which is a, composition reader that he's been using to read the dirt around Belante to determine what it's made of. Because what I want to do is use some change magic, and I want to basically make a, rudimentary, not even a cage, but basically lock down his legs using the earth around him.
Ooh.
Huh.
Dope.
That's fascinating.
So he can't run.
So he can't run, and potentially now it'll hopefully splint some of the bleeding that's going on in his leg. So what would you like me to roll for that? What would you consider the difficulty of this roll?
That seems like a change magic for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's go into that section.
Change magic.
Stand by. Stand
It's
by.
based on perception.
Intermission.
All right. So it's not trivial, and I wouldn't say it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Moderate?
I would say maybe moderate. Depending on if you're also trying to stop the bleeding, I would say skilled.
Sure.
But
We'll say that I'm not really trying to stop the bleeding since that happens so quickly.
mhm.
If it happens to be a side effect of it, cool. But that wasn't Bernie's intention.
All right. So with moderate.
Come on, big boy.
Come on, boy.
All right. Let's see you roll.
Alrighty. So my change magic is a 9. So let's see how this goes. I got the result of my roll is a 10.
Okay. So I'll say, yeah, you're able to accomplish it. Woo! You get it. Because it's weird because if you're... Okay. I digress.
I mean, I suppose, you could say if the, one of the things that it brings up is, you could come up with a, difficulty rating of the Earth itself, this, ground around it, and then use that as, the base of how easy is it to manipulate. Yeah. But, again, the magic system is interesting in that it's really open narratively. So
I would have just done, a dexterity thing for him, because I think that would be so much easier to do.
If he moves out of the way. Yeah. No, that's fair. No,
yeah, the way that I
There's
see
a lot
it,
of ways
though,
to
is
interpret
it falls into the moderate category according to the skill requirement chart, the difficulty chart.
Yeah.
And since a 10 is at the base of it, I would say, yeah, it still works for me.
Still works. That's fair. I dig it.
Yeah, you see that he doesn't even struggle. You just see that the mud, the soil becomes this clay-like, mud-like thing. And as a potter working a kiln, you sweep it over the legs, and he now has a nice pair of clay boots.
Nice. And from within, like the bushes, you just hear Bernie kind of say to himself, "Lock down."
Feel the burn.
All right. So we are now. It seems like everybody is gone. So I'm gonna give them a chance to react and kind of do their thing, and then we're gonna get into actual initiative order, which is based on. I'm sorry? Dexterity, yeah. Gwendol, now that you've surprised her, is going to pull out the meat hook and try and swipe at those meaty thigh meat that you have.
Nice. It's always meaty.
What is your toughness?
11.
Oh, mama. So she is too scared and she just swipes and completely whiffs it. She completely misses. With her attack. And Gobble
is... So technically that would have been a 15 because I had my armor, which adds to my toughness. True. So even worse.
Yeah, she got a 3, so no.
What a loser.
And with her strength, which is what that's based on, no. She needed a lot higher. So now we're going to go, and it's going to be Gobble, who has seen what is going on. He has seen mud cover the legs of this guy. He has received a shot across the bow, and he is freaking out because he only sees the one gorilla man, and that is the only target that he sees. So he's actually going to go for you as well. And he takes off. You see from his back sprouts these wings, and he starts to hover, and he's going to fly in to try and stab you with a spear that he has tied.
Battle!
You said that you have a 15?
Yeah, 15 with my armor. So toughness is 11, armor is a 4.
Okay, so that means that he has to get at least a 15 to hit. And that's a 20!
Dang it.
What?
Dang it.
So you see this creature, Gobble, he flies up, and despite how incompetent he looks, he is quite competent. And he flies down, jabbing his spear into your tie. And that is, damage is plus 10, plus his strength. So that's 15. Subtract your toughness from that. So 0.
Okay, so 15, so that with my armor and everything, or just my toughness?
I believe it's also with your armor, because that's what your toughness becomes.
Dope. So yeah, so it doesn't do anything?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, so...
Pathetic creature!
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
So...
Let's see. He's gonna have to find a different way to do this combat, this guy.
Yeah, for real.
Interesting.
So he literally can't hurt me.
Yeah. Unless Spencer
incapable.
decides that, actually his weapon's now 32 damage.
Yeah, so, no, he flies into you, and you feel him, he jabs into your armor, and, where you'd expect there to be damage, you're just, flexing on him, and it bends the tip. Just... And, let's go to the dexterity initiative. So...
I have 5.
8.
9.
I also have 8.
First is Ty. You have these two creatures who have just attacked you. How do you react, sir?
Are they right next to me?
Well, one of them is in the air, and the other one is at groin level with a meat hook.
Are they technically adjacent to me?
I would say yes.
Double sweeping attack, then. So I rev up, my chainsaw's revving, and I use sweeping attack. So this action allows you to strike every creature in an adjacent tile to you, not just one. So each d20 roll to hit gets a -2 for each character separately. So...
This is a specific combat action or maneuver, right?
Exactly, yes.
That's pretty cool about this game. Just as a quick note, they have a list of certain basic actions that you can do on your turn. During a turn, you have 2 actions that you can do, and that can be any combination of movement and specific maneuver that is listed in the book. And those can be combat or non-combat related.
So I have an 11 for melee weapons. Ooh, 16.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna be slashing through there. Yeah, you.
So with my cataclysm chainsaw
Jeez.
sword, I do 28 damage.
Okay. Well, 20 plus in the damage area. You still have to roll a d10, but you have a 60% chance of straight up killing them.
I got a 10. 10?
A 10, you straight up kill one of them. Why don't you roll another d10 to see if you're able to leave one of them alive?
7?
You straight up kill Gobble and Grendel.
Oh my goodness.
So I literally, I think what I see is I pull the one that's flying down
Gobble.
with this spear, Gobble. I use my chainsaw sword to literally slice down, upwards, slicing him in half, and then striking downwards, slicing down through, his collarbone, and just, totally just destroy both of them in one swing. And I just pound on my chest,
All right. The dominant
Jeez,
male
Marius.
ape has claimed this territory and now has a campsite to himself. What is everybody else doing? Because this seems insane.
So are we still moving in?
Are we still in the
order?
initiative order?
No, he just... Actually, yeah, I guess you guys don't know whether or not he's a good guy, bad guy. So if you want to continue to attack, feel free. You wouldn't know any better.
Well, I think it's Scarlet and Bernie who would be up next with Dex values of 8, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet, is there anything you would like to do?
I was going to secure the prisoner.
All right. I was also going to attempt to do the same thing. I'll let you get in there first if you'd like to run in.
Okay. I guess.
I really love this character.
Yeah, I'll go up and start securing the prisoner.
Describe how you're doing this.
Well, I'd assume I have handcuffs or rope of some kind.
Do you
If
have
I'm
that
going after
in
a
your
body?
equipment or anything
You should have
like
bought
that?
it,
Oh.
or
Did I need to buy... You did not explain equipment to me very well.
Ooh,
Ooh.
the truth comes out.
allow me to show you that I thought I did because there were 4 things: weapons, protection, modifications, mutants, mutations, and cybernetics, and finally, other items.
I would say as an other item, as a trivial item, most of you would be carrying rope of some sort. And especially if, as
We're
a
bounty
bounty
hunters.
hunter that
Yeah.
you are, naturally, Scarlet, I would say that you would have rope or handcuffs just naturally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna start tying him up.
You are lifting his body and he's just limp, he's not moving at all as you
Mm-hmm.
start to cuff him.
Obviously drugged.
There's no fight from him. Danny, what about you? Are you coming out?
Yes, I will come out unsure of the death of Gwendol, I believe her name was. I am going to attempt to use make magic to create a sort of javelin of condensed radioactive particulates that ultimately forms a ultra thin but durable metal rod, and just kind of launch it down from the air directly into her chest as she is lying dead on the ground. But he's unaware that she is dead.
I mean,
She is
I just
chopped
want-
in half.
she's literally chopped it out.
Oh, I am a frogman. Human anatomy is strange.
Oh, true. That's true.
Because
It
as a
could come back.
frogman, you know so many species that when cut in half just live.
Say some do. I'm spearing this thing.
All right.
Overkill.
You just hear this as it just erupts in grossness that I don't really want to describe.
Wonderful. And then I will start approaching the gorilla man, and say, "Good job on your kill. Very, very nice."
I start revving the chainsaw. I start charging at him.
Nick, what about you? What are you doing, Pahoran?
The situation has become much more complicated because as much as Reginald would love to try to convince everyone, try to convince a gorilla person that their quarry is not there at all, where did they go kind of thing. Illusion can't really do that with all three of them at the same time, as far as I understand the limits of this. And so he's just going to kind of give up and say, well, might as well. So he steps forward with his shield on his arm. In the name of the kingdom, I wish to also butt in on this business, as they say.
It is a Neo-Mormon.
I'm sorry, what?
What are you doing out here?
Oh.
They have pamphlets.
Oh my gosh. It appears that we are all after the same thing, and so it is my absolute suggestion and postulation that perhaps it would benefit all parties here present, except one, of course, that we all perhaps make all things common among ourselves and share in the bounty.
I do not know if I like this idea quite very much. I would like this bounty. I'd be willing to share with Gorilla Man. But
and why not a good gentleman like myself?
You are puny. You are puny boy. You no have power.
No power, you say? I'll show you power you cannot comprehend. And he makes a show of making a gesture towards the gorilla, and he's going to try to, use mind magic, obviously. Cloud his senses so that he thinks that he has lost his sight.
Wow.
Is this a specific thing that's already listed?
Cloud the senses to convince an enemy that they cannot see or that they see something that isn't there is a moderate level in mind magic. So I'm going to make the gorilla man think that he has become blind momentarily.
All right, subtract the mind level of Gorilla Man from
4.
So I have 10 plus mind magic, which makes 12.
All right, 12 minus 4 is 8, which means you need to roll a 2.
I rolled a 14. Be thou smoted.
Oh, I'm blind.
wildly strike.
I'm going to start flinging my sword in the air towards him in hopes that I'm going to hit him with my sword.
I'm still. He's still across the camp, and he has.
I'm still doing that.
As he is blinded, I would like to cause just a bit of the earth to raise just a little bit to trip him up as he's going about. It's just for fun.
I'd consider that trivial. You need to roll a 1. So
I got an 8.
Yeah, you definitely raise it just enough. You cause a root to pop out of the ground, and Gorilla Man roll a dex, but it's going to be pretty hard.
Reginald turns
so
to
I have a
and
dex
says,
of 9.
The veracity of the power of the kingdom does not require assistance from
natural
frogmen
20.
such as yourself.
Oh, nice. Okay, hey, that's pretty sweet.
You rolled a 20?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so you stumble, but you, as a gorilla, you slam your fist hand into the ground, and you're still waving your chainsaw and stand back up, continuing as though it didn't really faze you.
The power of the kingdom requires no assistance from the likes of frogmen such as you.
Bernie has averted his gaze from this Neo-Mormon and has approached the body where this warg woman is starting to cuff up our quarry, Bolante, and he's going to kneel down next to her and say, I would be willing to offer assistance if you are willing to, how you say, split bounty?
Yeah, just keep it down.
All right. And he will, with some change magic, the handcuffs or rope, he's going to change the properties to make it tighter and like more durable.
It's pretty easy because it gives the example of changing a key so that it can fit in a different lock. So using the same materials, similar item, basically.
Right, just improving it, right?
Yeah.
Reinforcing it.
I consider, like, some of these, like, little magic things are so trivial that it's like, you don't have to roll to make that happen. Like, you just do it.
Yeah.
Because if we keep asking you to roll every time, it's going to be Danny rolling 80% of the podcast and nobody else playing. So
that is true.
Scarlett, how do you react to your knots, which, I mean, as a bounty hunter, as somebody who tracks people and, like, hunts in general, like, how do you react to somebody, like, correcting you on that?
I mean, I would guess that he's making them tighter than is mortally possible. So I think I would see it more as helping rather than an insult to my abilities. I might give him, like, a sharp look, but beyond that, just keep...
A snarl?
Possibly.
Okay.
Bit of a startled snarl.
All right.
Like, what? And then realizing that it's not necessarily an attack type thing, and more of, like, assistance and kind of just whatever.
And making small talk, Bernie will say, my sister-in-law is also Borg. Her name is Chartreuse. What is your name?
My gosh.
Scarlet.
Ah, lovely. I am Bernie Arcane.
Any relation to Presta?
Oh, true.
I was going to ask about that.
That was one of Nick's characters.
Yeah.
Because
no relation to
Presta's
Presta.
name was Presta Runa Kane, also known as Presta R. Kane.
Fascinating. Maybe distantly. Maybe I am your ancestor. Who knows?
Descendant.
Oh, I come.
Ancestor is the
Presta.
older one.
Oh, how do you know? This could be totally different timeline.
Ooh, it's true.
All right, fair enough.
Ragnar is going to walk up to the frogman and say,
Ragnar, not interested in bounty.
Are you not
He
still
interested
blind?
in what?
how long does this last,
Are
by
you
the
still
way?
blind? How long does that last?
It doesn't give a specific length of effect.
I was going, like, I figured it was I kind of assumed it might be something that I can, like, turn off.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's OP.
Or like I would wonder if it would be either like a contested thing that you can continue to try to break out of, or like otherwise if you would just say like base duration a minute.
I guess that might be according to the game master. It does say the game master can probably like help with figuring out what level of duration this spell would have.
I'd say a combination of the two. So maximum length, because it is only a moderate effect, right?
Yeah.
That it would be a maximum length of 1 minute, but it continues to be it continues to be a check that can be made by the victim.
Yeah. So when the gorilla man calms down, that is when Reginald shuts it off and says, "I shall revoke my smotedness upon the creature, as long as thou agree to work together with the rest of us."
I roll my eyes at the frogman, Bernie.
my eyes also roll, but in like
sideways.
Yeah, but sideways.
Ragnar not interested in bounty. He interested in what come to get bounty.
What come to get pardon me, but I'm not quite sure I understand your meaning, your denotation, if you will.
I seek challenge of combat, not puny human bounty.
Challenge of combat? I made you blind momentarily, made you useless with the power that is vested upon myself.
Let's get I'm going to restrain myself.
Yes. It certainly appears that Mr. Gorilla Man is purchasing into the philosophy of it is not the destination, but the journey.
Exactly.
Enjoying the journey.
Exactly.
He doesn't care about the bounty. He cares about fighting all the people who want the bounty.
Well, I don't want it. I just need the comic book.
What's that?
The funds from such a bounty, as well as the exploration that this mission provides, will aid me upon my life's mission, as well as that of the kingdom. So I see no reason not to have us all, like I said, have all things common, our purposes, our destinations, our journeys.
You communist?
Excuse me.
What does Bernie say to that?
Bernie looks just kind of like he's intrigued. He's like, it has its merits. With practiced correctly, in a just system, it isn't the worst thing.
Ragnar help for now. But I crush puny human with shield later.
With faith. You cannot crush me with my own faith. It is my faith, creature, that bolsters me and shields me from the forces of nature and evil that surround us throughout.
Is there a log that I can just rip apart with my hands?
They did drag over a log that
true,
they
yeah,
were
yeah,
kind
they
of
did.
sitting on, and there's a pile of firewood as well.
Cool. Can I rip one of those logs
You gonna
apart?
Captain America this and just rip apart some firewood?
How are
Oh,
you
yeah,
ripping
totally.
it? Are you ripping it
Bare hands.
well, you don't have bare hands, but are you ripping it circumference
Like
style,
Captain
or are you
America
ripping
in the
it like the way that I'm breaking my pencil, in half like that?
Long ways or
I'm
short
gonna rip
ways?
so the top of the logs here. I'm gonna rip it like in Captain America when he's splitting logs. That's
It's
how I'm gonna
less
do it.
it's less impressive if you
Hot
think
dog
about it.
style.
But okay.
hot dog
Still.
style and hamburger style.
Well,
So
I mean,
he's
I
doing
think
it hot
it'd be
dog
harder
style.
to do it. Yeah.
So
It'd be so much harder.
why
yeah.
don't you do a strength on that?
All right. Strength is 10, and I got a 6.
You're straining really hard and you
Dang
don't
it.
get
Dang
it. It's actually kind of funny for everybody else to see this super brute trying to intimidate with his strength, and just it's like when you're trying to open a really hard
All right. Everyone
chip
laughed
bag.
at the gorilla character. All right. I get it.
Hey, listen, comrade, let me come help.
Reginald raises his eyebrows without saying anything.
I throw it at Reginald.
I'll go and pick up the log, and I want to slightly change some of its properties to make it more of a foam, and bust it apart in the same way he was going for.
All right, yeah,
Dang it.
sure. I mean, at this point, this is so trivial. This scene doesn't matter. This
Oh,
is
really
just-
does.
Let's go on
this
it.
is
No
this is me
overkill.
just flexing. But yes,
We all have to test each other.
Mm-hmm. I'll do some more to help with securing Volante. I will with this clay encapsulation that I've done on his legs. I'll free it from the earth type of a deal, and I'll start trying to put together a harness of some sort, likely with Scarlet, to then strap to the Gorilla Man.
create the C-3PO backpack for Chewbacca here.
Exactly.
That's literally what I was thinking of, just carrying him on my back. So perfect.
Do you like sex, magic, space bags, and booze? Well, then you should check out Wheel or Woe. It's a
Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Improv heavy.
Character-driven podcast, and we're proud members of the Necropodicon Network. You can find us and other great shows at necropodicon.com.
hot damn.